Hello, it's Philip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers speaking. I'm talking about a book which I've reviewed before in a number of different publications. It's called English Law. This is the book here. It's by Gary Slapper and David Kelly, and it's in a third edition, which is mentioned there, for 2009. I've produced a detailed review on Flickr and a whole range of other websites which will take them. The book itself is relatively light. It's a good read in my opinion, and it's very up to date. It's got a nice index at the back. The book runs to around about 350 pages, and there's quite a lot of case law, but I think the balance is about right. And of course I've made a comment at the top which indicates my view that this is a good book for those being newcomers to law and those who are looking at some sort of general work prior to doing much more detailed study at undergraduate law level. It's also useful, of course, for business studies. Now, I've written a review with my wife and we've given it the title Read It, because the way you live is affected by English law. Now, it's very much a theme which Gary and David have run through with this book and others that they've written, including books like The English Legal System and so forth. Very much the sort of problem that in fact the law does actually affect the way we live today. And in this appreciation we've said the following. We've said we like this book, and of course not just because I wrote the original, one of the original reviews, and put some copy material on it, obviously decorating the top of the book. We are rather flattered actually that the quote is there, and it was very nice of Gary to ask me to give him a quote. It's just that we feel that this book, English Law, has a number of important attributes. The first attribute probably is its readability, and that's very much a thing that I think Slapper's publications have. It's not too detailed, but it's good enough, and it's at a high level. For instance, how many tomes can you name that make the law, which affects us all after all, sound as interesting and as relevant and as pertinent as it actually is? Our answer would be some, thank goodness, but not all, and more's the pity, although to be fair, the law can be extremely complex, and of course this is one of the beauties of a professional like Professor Slapper, who has the understanding and can put the opinions forward with clarity and simplicity. As an introduction, therefore, English Law is, in our view, the best introductory text available. As well as being accurate and erudite, it's straightforward, logically structured and accessible, and therefore ideal not only for lawyers and for law students, but professionals in any other field, thinking specifically possibly about accountancy and things like arbitration and so on. English Law also works well as a reference book for the general reader. I mean, you can get plenty of reference materials on law, some of which are of a somewhat dubious character. This one is not. It's got enough content in, and you know it's written by people within the profession. There's no inbuilt supposition that there are things you know about the law and the legal system already, obviously from this book. And obviously, if you don't know, some books tend to feel you jolly well should know some information. Well, this book actually sets it out, I think, very clearly for those people who are probably a little bit afraid of the legal system as well. Therefore, if you think you know the difference, say, between the magistrates' court and the county courts, and or what solicitors and barristers do and don't do, but you don't really, at least you're not sure, then this is the book for you. And luckily, you won't need to spend hours trawling through it to fish out the information you want. The index at the back is actually very good. You can see a little bit of it there. As the authors point out in their preface, English Law probably exercises more influence, for better or worse, over people's lives across the world than any other set of legal principles and procedures. In other words, in most of the 53 members of the Commonwealth, it's obviously the English law which is the survivor, comprising 1.8 billion people, or almost a third of the Earth's population. So you can see the common law itself is important. Also recall that the original law and legal systems in North America were largely based on the principles of English law, and of course that again is an important factor. So in this book you've got an accurate and succinct explanation of how the English legal system currently operates, and of course the various aspects of English law contained within things which we call substantive law. That's criminal law, contract, and things like the law of negligence and so forth. The list of contents indicates clearly what is provided in this valuable resource, and it includes the following. It's listed on the back really by chapter headings, but it's sources of law, the civil and criminal courts, the judiciary, the criminal law, contract, tort, specifically negligence, the civil process, the criminal process, and legal services. Now that type of syllabus is very pertinent today to GCE A-level law, also to a limited extent GCSE law, obviously in not so much detail, and also what is now known as common law reasoning, which was the English legal system, but obviously for some countries it's called common law reasoning, which is a more suitable term for those countries. So let me conclude by saying you're probably getting the general idea by now that this book is intended to familiarise you with the English legal landscape, and is therefore, in our view, an excellent springboard to launch you into a study of law. The authors, Slapper and Kelly, have endeavoured to ensure that the text is legally up to date as at March 2009. Obviously changes take place on a regular basis at the moment, and they continue to achieve, in our view, what they set themselves as a target, describing that the way you live is affected by English law, and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. It's well worth getting as a good 2009-2010 starter for your studies. Thank you very much. Bye bye.